It begins not with Batman, but with Gotham itself. The city is painted as a decaying beast, a place rotting from the inside out. Politicians are corrupt, cops are on the take, and criminals walk the streets with no fear. Gotham is less a city and more a predator, waiting to chew up anyone foolish enough to challenge it. Into this, two men arrive. Bruce Wayne, 25 years old, has returned home after 12 years abroad. He's spent that time training, studying, pushing his body and mind to the absolute limit. He's learned martial arts from masters, studied science and criminology, absorbed tactics and stealth like a sponge. But all of that means nothing if he can't figure out how to be what Gotham needs. He's not Batman yet, he's just a man, haunted by the murder of his parents and desperate to find a way to strike fear into the same kind of criminals who destroyed his childhood. And then there's Jim Gordon. Not Commissioner Gordon yet, just Lieutenant Gordon, freshly transferred to Gotham with his pregnant wife, Barbara. He arrives on a train, staring out the window at the grim cityscape, already regretting this assignment. But he's a good cop in a bad system, and that makes him dangerous to the men who thrive on Gotham's corruption. Two men, two very different lives, and yet both on a collision course with destiny. Bruce's first attempts. Bruce doesn't leap straight into the cape and cowl. His first attempt is clumsy. He disguises himself, prowls Gotham's streets, looking for crime to stop. He finds it quickly enough, a group of pimps harassing a young girl. But it doesn't go the way he imagines. Bruce gets stabbed, nearly bleeds out, and limps home to Wayne Manor, humiliated. Sitting there in the study, battered and broken, he realizes that just being a man isn't enough. Criminals aren't afraid of him. They need to be. And that's when it happens. A bat crashes through the window of Wayne Manor, soaring into the study like an omen. Bruce sees it not as coincidence, but as destiny. "Yes, Father," he whispers, "I shall become a bat." And in that moment, Batman is born. Gordon's struggle. Meanwhile, Gordon is drowning in Gotham's corruption. His fellow officers beat suspects for fun. His captain looks the other way on mob payoffs. When Gordon refuses to play along, they retaliate, sending a squad to ambush him in the middle of nowhere, trying to beat him into submission. But Gordon doesn't break. He fights back, brutal and efficient, showing them that he won't be bent. It's not glamorous, not cinematic, just a man refusing to compromise. And that, in Gotham, is more radical than any mask. The Bat emerges. Bruce's second attempt is very different. This time, he's suited up. Cape, cowl, the whole image of a nightmare stitched into reality. His first real strike is legendary. He crashes a dinner full of Gotham's most corrupt politicians and crime lords. The lights go out, the windows shatter, and when they flicker back on, Batman is there, towering like a shadow, voice low and terrible. "Ladies and gentlemen, you have eaten well. You've eaten Gotham's wealth, its spirit. Your feast is nearly over." And just like that, the myth begins. The Cat and the Bat. We also meet Selina Kyle, not yet Catwoman, but already restless. She's a prostitute, struggling to survive, caring for a young girl in her orbit. Watching Batman terrify pimps and mobsters inspires her. If he can put on a mask and take what he wants, why can't she? Selina's transformation into Catwoman begins here. Not as Batman's sidekick or enemy, but as someone carving her own path in Gotham's chaos. Their first encounters are tense, flirtatious, violent. It's less romance, more a recognition. Two predators circling each other on the same dark rooftops. The convergence. Batman's war escalates. He targets mob bosses, sabotages their operations, and leaves a trail of broken bones and terror in his wake. The police, embarrassed and pressured by the public, declare war on him. And who do they send to hunt him? Gordon. It builds to one of the most iconic moments in Batman history. Gordon's infant son is kidnapped by a mobster, taken to a bridge. Batman and Gordon both race to save him. In the chaos, the baby falls. Gordon can't see through the smoke and the fight, but when it clears, the child is safe, cradled in Batman's arms. Gordon looks at the masked figure. He could try to arrest him. He could reveal the truth. Instead, he lowers his weapon. "I'm practically blind without my glasses," Gordon says softly, "but I know who you are." It's not just an alliance. It's the start of something bigger, the foundation of Gotham's fragile hope. Why it matters. Batman, Year One isn't about gadgets or villains with colourful costumes. It's about the beginning, about two men, one in a mask, one with a badge, who decide to fight an entire city rotting from the inside. It shows us Batman not as a superhero, but as a man who fails, bleeds, and still gets up again. It also shows us Gordon's integrity and why he'll become Batman's greatest ally. In many ways, it's as much his story as Bruce's. Two origin stories, side by side, in a city that needs both of them. And at its core, it's about fear. Criminals fear Batman. Cops fear Gordon because he can't be bought. And in Gotham, fear is the first step toward change. Okay, let's just take a second to appreciate how grounded this story is. No giant robots, no alien invasions. Just a broken city, a man in a mask, and another man refusing to give in. What I love most about Year One is how it strips Batman down. He's not perfect. He makes mistakes, gets hurt, nearly dies. But instead of giving up, he learns. That's what makes him Batman. Not the money, not the training, but the refusal to stop. And Gordon? He's the heart of Gotham. Without him, Batman's just a vigilante in the dark. Together, they become something more. A symbol that maybe, just maybe, Gotham can be saved. So we've explored Batman's beginnings in Year One, the roots of his crusade, the fragile alliance with Jim Gordon, and the birth of Gotham's shadowy protector. Now, let's fast forward to one of the darkest, most famous, and most haunting Batman stories ever told. A story that doesn't just pit Batman against the Joker, it tries to show how thin the line really is between them. This is The Killing Joke by Alan Moore and Brian Bolland. The premise. The story opens in the rain. Batman arrives at Arkham Asylum, Gotham's infamous prison for the criminally insane. He's there to see the Joker. Not to fight him, but to talk. Because Batman, after years of this endless war between them, has started to wonder, how will it end? Will one of them kill the other? Is that the only outcome left? He sits down across from the Joker's cell. The clown is silent, shuffling cards. Batman says, "I don't want to kill you, but I don't want you to kill me either. We're going to end up destroying each other unless we try to change something." It's a startling moment of vulnerability. For once, Batman isn't threatening or intimidating. He's pleading. But then, as he reaches across the table, he realizes the man in the cell isn't the Joker. It's a decoy, a random inmate dressed in makeup. The real Joker is already gone, and somewhere out there, in Gotham's rainy streets, he's planning his next move. The flashbacks. Intercut with the present, The Killing Joke shows us glimpses of what might be the Joker's origin. We see a struggling comedian, nameless, living with his wife in a run-down apartment. He's desperate to provide for her, but his jokes fall flat. His career is going nowhere, and his shame is eating him alive. Out of desperation, he agrees to help some criminals break into a chemical plant. They tell him he'll wear the mask of the infamous Red Hood to act as a decoy while they pull the heist. He doesn't want to, but he feels trapped. He needs the money for his wife and their unborn child. Then, just as the plan is forming, the police arrive at his apartment. His wife has died in a household accident. Slipped on an electrical cord, electrocuted. Both she and the baby are gone. The comedian collapses. He's lost everything. And yet the criminals force him to go through with the heist anyway. The fall. The robbery goes wrong. Batman arrives, terrifying the criminals. The comedian, panicked, stumbles through the plant, eventually falling into a vat of chemicals. When he crawls out, his skin is bleached white, his lips bright red, his hair green. He looks into the water's reflection and begins to laugh. And in that moment, the Joker is born. The present, the trap. Back in the present, the Joker makes his move. He targets Commissioner Gordon, Batman's ally, the man who represents law and order in Gotham. It begins at Gordon's home. Barbara Gordon, his daughter, is there when the Joker shows up. The doorbell rings, she opens it, and there he is, gun in hand, smile stretched wide. He shoots her through the spine. Barbara collapses, bleeding, paralyzed. The Joker's henchmen drag her away. He snaps photos of her broken body, mocking, gleeful. When Gordon arrives, he's overpowered, beaten, stripped, and dragged to an abandoned carnival. The Carnival of Madness. The Joker imprisons Gordon in a twisted funhouse. He forces him onto a nightmarish ride, carts dragging him past giant, grotesque images, distorted mirrors, all while he's bombarded with projected photos of Barbara's assault. The Joker's goal is simple: to prove that one bad day is all it takes to break a man. Just one moment of unbearable tragedy, and even the sanest person will snap. Because if he can break Gordon, it proves his own madness isn't unique, it's inevitable. Batman's pursuit. Meanwhile, Batman is on the hunt. He tracks the Joker through Gotham's underworld, interrogates informants, follows the trail of chaos until he reaches the carnival. He storms through, fighting off Joker's freakish henchmen, deformed sideshow performers, all loyal to their mad ringmaster. But for Batman, the fight isn't just physical, it's psychological. Because he knows what the Joker is trying to prove, and he knows how close it hits to home. Batman's parents were murdered in front of him, his one bad day. He could have snapped, he could have become a monster, but he didn't. The Joker wants to show that Gordon isn't that strong, that no one is. The confrontation with Gordon. When Batman finally finds Gordon, the Commissioner is shaken, but not broken. Through sheer willpower, Gordon resists the Joker's torment. He tells Batman to do it by the book, to capture the Joker legally. We have to show him that our way works, he insists. And in that moment, Gordon proves the Joker wrong. One bad day didn't destroy him. It hurt him, scarred him, but it didn't break him. The final confrontation. Batman corners the Joker in the rain-soaked carnival. They fight, brutal, desperate. Batman takes him down. But instead of beating him to death, instead of giving in to rage, Batman offers him a hand. He says it doesn't have to end this way, that they don't have to keep doing this dance until one of them kills the other. That maybe, just maybe, they could try to rehabilitate, to change. For a moment, the Joker pauses. He tells Batman a joke. Two men escape from an asylum. One says, "Let's jump across to the next rooftop." The other says, "I can't, it's too far." So the first says, "I'll shine my flashlight across the gap and you can walk across the beam." The second says, "What do you think I am, crazy? You just turn it off when I'm halfway across." Batman chuckles. Just for a second, they laugh together. And then the laughter fades into the rain. The story ends ambiguously. Some say Batman kills the Joker off panel. Others say he doesn't. It's never answered, and maybe it isn't supposed to be. Themes and impact. The Killing Joke is one of Batman's most famous comics because it cuts to the core of the Joker. It shows him not just as a clown, not just as a madman, but as someone who might have been ordinary once. Someone who had a family, dreams, love, and lost it all in one terrible day. It asks the question, what separates the Joker from Batman? Both had their one bad day. Both lost everything. But one chose to build walls of discipline. while the other collapsed into chaos. It's also infamous for what happens to Barbara Gordon, shot, paralyzed, used as a pawn. The story turned her into Oracle, one of the most important DC characters later. But at the time, it was shocking, brutal, and controversial. And then there's the ending. Did Batman kill the Joker? Did they finally reach that breaking point? Or was it just two men laughing at the absurdity of their endless war? Okay, let's breathe for a second. What makes the Killing Joke so powerful isn't just the violence or the darkness. It's the psychology. It's the idea that the Joker isn't a monster from birth. He's just someone who had one bad day and never came back from it. And then it dares to ask, how different is that from Batman? For me, the scariest part isn't the Joker's laugh or the carnival or even the gunshot. It's the possibility that he's right, that maybe all of us are just one tragedy away from becoming something else entirely. That's what makes this story linger. Because the line between order and chaos, sanity and madness, Batman and Joker, is thinner than we'd like to believe. So far, we've seen Batman's beginnings in Year One, his first faltering steps into the shadows. We've gone into the psychological warfare of the Killing Joke, a brutal clash that asked what separates Batman from his greatest enemy. Now it's time to sink into something even bigger, a sprawling crime saga, part noir detective story, part gothic tragedy, a tale of mobsters, masked villains, and a city in transition. This is The Long Halloween by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. It begins on Halloween night. Gotham City is at war, not between superheroes and supervillains, not yet, but between its mob families. Carmine, the Roman Falcone, the city's most powerful crime boss, rules with money, blood, and fear. His empire stretches everywhere: banks, cops, politicians. If Gotham is rotting, Falcone is the mold. But not everyone's willing to let him keep it. Bruce Wayne, newly established as Batman, has begun choking the mob's hold. Jim Gordon, now captain, is one of the few good cops left in Gotham. And Harvey Dent, the ambitious district attorney, is determined to clean up the city through the law. The three men form a fragile alliance, a pact made in shadows. They'll work together, bending rules if necessary, to take Falcone down. But what they don't know is that Gotham is about to change forever. That Halloween night, a murder shakes the city. One of Falcone's men is found shot, a jack-o'-lantern placed at the crime scene. The killer leaves behind no clues, no fingerprints, nothing but the eerie ritual of killing on a holiday. Then Thanksgiving comes, another murder, then Christmas, then New Year's. Each holiday brings another death, another bloody message. The newspapers dub the mysterious figure the Holiday Killer. And suddenly, Batman isn't just fighting mobsters. He's hunting a serial killer. Batman throws himself into the case. He studies the evidence, interrogates Falcone's rivals, stalks Gotham's alleys. But the deeper he digs, the murkier it gets. The Holiday Killer seems almost surgical, always striking Falcone's men, weakening his empire piece by piece. But is it personal or just business? Harvey Dent has his own suspicions. He believes Falcone's enemies are involved. Maybe Sal Maroni, a rival gangster. Gordon, ever cautious, warns both men not to jump to conclusions. Meanwhile, the murders continue. For Falcone, the killings are more than personal. They're an insult to his power. His empire is crumbling, his men are terrified, and his rivals smell blood. So he does something desperate. He turns to the freaks. Desperate for muscle, he hires villains like Poison Ivy and the Riddler to help him maintain control. But the problem with Gotham's freaks is that they don't play by mob rules. They don't respect tradition. They don't fear him. Falcone's world, the old world of gangsters and families, is slipping away. And Batman, Gordon, and Dent can see it happening in real time. At the center of it all is Harvey Dent. Harvey is obsessed. He works himself to the bone, chasing leads, pressuring witnesses, putting himself directly in danger. His marriage begins to strain. His wife, Gilda, begs him to slow down, to think about starting a family. But Harvey can't let go. And then comes the moment that changes everything. In court, Harvey is prosecuting Sal Maroni, one of Falcone's key rivals. In the middle of testimony, Maroni suddenly hurls a vial of acid into Harvey's face. The courtroom erupts in chaos. Harvey screams as half his face is burned away. He survives, but he's not the same. Lying in the hospital, Harvey Dent becomes something else. His mind fractures. The ambitious, idealistic DA is gone. In his place is a man obsessed with chance, with duality, with justice twisted into cruelty. He flips a coin, scarred on one side, clean on the other. Heads, you live. Tails, you die. Gotham gains a new villain. And for Batman and Gordon, the loss of Harvey is devastating. He was supposed to be their ally, their equal, the man who could help clean Gotham the right way. Instead, he's proof that no one is immune to Gotham's rot. Through it all, the holiday killer continues. Month after month, holiday after holiday, bodies keep dropping. Fireworks on the 4th of July. Pumpkins on Halloween. Champagne glasses on New Year's. The killer is meticulous, patient, and anonymous. And Batman, the world's greatest detective, can't crack the case. He questions everyone. Falcone's family, Maroni's gang, even members of his own inner circle. Catwoman, who's been slinking in and out of Falcone's orbit, knows more than she admits. But every lead ends in smoke. It's infuriating. Because Batman is supposed to know. He's supposed to solve the puzzles no one else can. And here, he's failing. Finally, the murders reach a breaking point. Falcone's empire collapses. His son is killed. His men desert him. His grip on Gotham slips completely. Two-Face, fully transformed, leads a breakout from Arkham Asylum. Villains flood the streets. The Joker, Scarecrow, Mad Hatter, Solomon Grundy. For the first time, Gotham feels truly overrun, not by mobsters, but by monsters. And the holiday killer? Still at large, still unknown. Batman confronts Falcone. But it's too late. The Roman's reign is over. The age of mobsters is finished. And in its place rises something stranger, darker, and more dangerous. Here's the thing. The Long Halloween plays coy with its mystery. Even at the end, the identity of the holiday killer isn't crystal clear. Some evidence points to Gilda Dent, Harvey's wife, desperate to give her husband a life free of crime. Other evidence points to Harvey himself before his transformation. And still more suggests Falcone's enemies had a hand. The truth is, it doesn't matter, because the real story isn't who Holiday was. It's what Holiday represented. Gotham's transformation. The city is no longer ruled by men in suits and fedoras. It's ruled by masks, by symbols, by chaos. The Long Halloween isn't just a Batman story. It's a gothic novel wrapped in a detective comic. It's about obsession, Harvey's obsession with justice, Batman's obsession with control, the Joker's obsession with chaos. It's about the thin line between order and anarchy, and how even the noblest man can fall. It's also about time. Each chapter tied to a holiday, each murder a marker in Gotham's descent. The calendar itself becomes a kind of villain, dragging everyone closer to ruin. And maybe most of all, it's about the birth of Gotham as we know it. After this story, the mob is gone. The freaks have taken over. Gotham will never be the same. Okay, let's pause here. What I love about The Long Halloween is that it's Batman as a detective, first and foremost. This isn't about gadgets or giant battles. It's about mystery, tension, shadows. Batman failing, struggling, second-guessing himself. But it's also Harvey's story. The rise and fall of a man who should have been Gotham's shining hope, who instead became one of its darkest nightmares. Two-Face isn't just a villain. He's a tragedy. He's what happens when the system breaks someone who tried to save it. We've seen Batman's origins in Year One, his darkest duel with the Joker in The Killing Joke, and the mob's fall in The Long Halloween. Now it's time for one of Batman's biggest, most personal sagas. A story that pulls in almost his entire rogues gallery and tests him in ways both physical and emotional. This is Batman, Hush by Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee, who is my favorite artist, by the way. It starts with a kidnapping. A wealthy child in Gotham has been taken, and Batman dives into the city's underworld to track him down. The ransom is steep, the situation tense, but Batman saves the boy, fighting through thugs in a crumbling Gotham neighborhood. Everything seems fine, until it isn't. Because in the middle of the rescue, something goes wrong. A rope snaps. Batman plummets from a great height, and though he survives, he's gravely injured. His skull is fractured. For a man who's trained his entire life to control every outcome, every variable, this is a brutal reminder. Even Batman can fall. In his moment of need, Bruce Wayne calls on an old friend, Dr. Thomas Elliot. A brilliant surgeon, Elliot was Bruce's childhood friend, someone who, like him, grew up wealthy in Gotham, but whose life took a very different path. Elliot saves his life. With precision and care, he repairs the damage and Bruce recovers. But this is just the beginning. Because soon after, strange things start happening in Gotham. Villains are moving in unusual ways. Crimes feel orchestrated. Someone is pulling the strings. One by one, Batman's enemies appear. Killer Croc attacks a ransom exchange, unusually intelligent and coordinated. Poison Ivy ensnares Superman himself, turning him into a weapon against his best friend. The Joker shows up, more vicious than ever. Even Ra's al Ghul, Scarecrow, and the Riddler make appearances. But there's a pattern. They're not acting randomly. They're working in sequence, like chess pieces moved by a hidden hand. And in the shadows, a bandaged figure lurks, face completely covered, whispering in darkness. His name is Hush. In the midst of all this chaos, something unexpected happens. Batman and Catwoman grow closer than ever. Selina Kyle has always danced the line between foe and lover, thief and ally. But here, as they work together to unravel the mystery, their connection deepens. Batman, famously closed off, armored not just in body but in heart, lets himself trust her. There's even a moment where Bruce Wayne, behind the mask, whispers the words he's never said to anyone. I love you. For a man defined by loneliness, this is monumental. But of course, in Gotham, love is never simple. The web tightens. Each villain seems perfectly placed to push Batman in a new direction. Ivy uses Superman against him, forcing Batman to fight his closest ally. The Joker is framed for a murder he might not have committed, driving Batman to the edge of breaking his no-kill rule. And through it all, Hush watches. Always ahead, always unseen. It becomes clear that whoever Hush is, he knows Batman intimately. His tactics aren't random. They're surgical, precise, personal. Then comes a shocking turn. In the middle of the chaos, Bruce's old friend Dr. Thomas Elliot, the surgeon who saved his life, is murdered, shot dead in an alley. Bruce is devastated. Elliot was one of the few people he truly trusted. And now, with his death, Bruce feels the weight of loss all over again. Another friend taken by Gotham's endless cycle of violence. The tragedy only strengthens his resolve to uncover who Hush really is. The investigation leads Batman straight into the Joker's path. The Joker is found standing over the body of yet another victim, grinning, gun in hand. For Bruce, it's too much. All the years of pain, all the lives lost, all the games, it boils over. He beats the Joker savagely, to the point where even Harley Quinn and Catwoman try to stop him. For the first time in years, Batman nearly breaks his one rule. He nearly kills the Joker. It's only Jim Gordon, arriving just in time, who stops him. You can't, Gordon pleads. If you kill him, he wins. You'll prove that you're no better. Batman relents. Barely. But the encounter leaves him shaken. Piece by piece, the truth comes out. The villains were all manipulated by one man, the Riddler. He had discovered Batman's true identity, Bruce Wayne, after using the Lazarus Pit, which gave him a moment of dangerous clarity. With that knowledge, he orchestrated the entire conspiracy, enlisting Poison Ivy, Croc, Scarecrow, and others. And Hush, the bandaged figure who haunted the story from the start, he's revealed to be none other than Thomas Elliot. Elliot faked his death, staged everything, and turned his medical precision into a weapon. His motive? Old, festering resentment. As children, Bruce's parents died tragically in an alley. But Elliot secretly envied him. He wanted his own parents dead, to inherit their fortune and live free of them. But his plan was ruined when Dr. Thomas Wayne, Bruce's father, saved Elliot's mother's life after an accident. So Elliot grew up bitter, jealous, despising Bruce Wayne for having the life he wanted. And now, as Hush, he's determined to destroy him, not just physically, but emotionally, by manipulating everyone around him. The revelation rocks Bruce, his childhood friend, the man he trusted, the man who once saved his life, is the mastermind behind it all. Catwoman, too, becomes a casualty of the scheme. When she and Bruce finally let themselves be vulnerable, Hush's manipulations tear at their bond. Selina accuses him of not fully trusting her, and Bruce, wounded by betrayal after betrayal, can't let himself take the final leap of faith. Their relationship collapses. In the end, Batman defeats Hush, but doesn't kill him. Elliot vanishes into the night, his bandaged face disappearing among Gotham's shadows. The Riddler, meanwhile, smugly claims victory, not because he destroyed Batman, but because he finally solved the greatest riddle of all, who Batman is. But when Batman points out that if the Riddler reveals the secret, it becomes useless, no longer a riddle at all, the villain is silenced by his own logic. Hush isn't just about a new villain, it's about trust. Batman, for all his skill and strength, is deeply isolated. He doesn't trust easily. He doesn't let people in. And when he finally tries, with Thomas Elliot, with Catwoman, he's betrayed. It's about the fragility of identity. Bruce Wayne and Batman live in tension, and Hush exploits that by weaponizing Bruce's past. And it's about control. Batman is always the planner, the tactician, the one 10 steps ahead. But here, he's the one being manipulated, the one caught in someone else's web. Okay, let's breathe. What makes Hush so compelling is that it's a Batman story where the fight isn't just against villains, it's against the past. Childhood friendships, unresolved grief, buried resentment. It reminds us that sometimes the people closest to us can hurt us the most. It's also a showcase of Batman's entire world. Nearly every villain shows up, each used like a piece in a giant puzzle. It feels epic, but also deeply personal. And then there's the relationship with Catwoman. For once, Bruce lets himself be vulnerable. He says the words, "I love you." But in the end, fear and betrayal pull him back into isolation. It's tragic, because in another world, maybe he could have had something real. We've walked through the dark alleys of Year One, where a young Bruce Wayne first decided to put on the mask. We faced the psychological horror of The Killing Joke, where the Joker tried to prove that one bad day could break anyone. We unraveled the murders and mob wars of The Long Halloween, watching Harvey Dent fall into shadow as Two-Face. And we uncovered betrayal and heartbreak in Hush, a story that reminded us that sometimes the greatest threats don't come from enemies, but from old friends. These stories remind us why Batman endures. He isn't a god or an alien or invincible. He's a man who fails, who bleeds, who doubts. But he keeps getting back up, no matter how many times Gotham tries to break him. Thank you for spending this time with me here at SpiderFish. Whether you're winding down for the night, playing Minecraft, or just letting this play in the background while you relax, I hope these stories carried you somewhere else for a while. If you enjoyed this journey through Batman's most famous comics, don't forget to like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more long-form storytelling every week. Until next time, take care of yourself, stay curious, And remember, even in the darkest city, even in the longest night, a single torch of determination can still light the way. Good night, everyone.